pizza oven. I made it out of Vermiculite, which I got from a builder's merchant, and also some cement, a refractory cement. I made it over a gym ball, and it was quite easy to do once I got the hang of it. Quite a lot of information on the internet, but this was my version of it. Seems to have turned out quite well. Just finished making a whole batch of pizzas. I was a little bit worried about it cracking up, but it seems to be okay. So have a look at the following video, see what you think. Cheers! So these are the things that you'll need if you're going to make the dome out of what we call vermiculite. I've got a 100-litre bag of vermiculite from the local builders merchants, and I've got some of this cement fondue. Okay, so that's 25 kilogram bag. I got that off the internet, eBay, and that was used to make the mix. Just mix that in a bucket with some water, and then that will form the material for the pizza oven. So here I'm making the mix for the vermiculite cement. The cement I used was cement fondue. It's supposed to be a refractory type cement. It's heat resistant. I thought that would be better to use than Portland cement. I mixed it in a ratio of approximately 3, maybe 4 to 1. So that's 4 parts vermiculite, or 3 parts vermiculite to 1 part cement. For bigger batches I mixed it in a wheelbarrow and used a shovel, and obviously that's how I built up the original pizza oven dome shape over the gym ball. But here I'm just making a small amount just to connect the pizza oven dome to the floor of the pizza oven, the stone base of the pizza oven. So I'm adding water there and making the mix. So I've just made a mix, just enough so that it can form into a shape, and I can use it to seal the gap now between the pizza oven and the brick base. I'll show you that in a minute. So this is the mould that I made. It's fairly simple. It's just a bit of sterling board. I've set it on some temporary legs. The gym ball came up inside, alright, and fitted inside the circle, and it rested pretty much on the floor. This was made indoors. As I say, it was a 65 centimetre or 25.5 inch gym ball. Came up here. I covered it with ordinary kitchen cling film and then made the mix, and that formed the mould for the structure. At the front here I made some arched formers to allow us to make the front entrance. When I've set the oven on the base there, I've used some of this calcium silicate board. This stuff is quite expensive. It's 25mm deep. It's supposed to be a very good insulant against the concrete underneath. And then on top of this I put the bricks, the fire bricks. Now I understand that the fire bricks need to be as deep as you can afford, really, because there is a lot of heat that goes down into the base. We'll see how it works. I covered this with ordinary kitchen foil, aluminium kitchen foil, only on the base and up the side, but not on the top, just in case water got in and it pooled. So I'm going to hopefully put some heat in here now and let the air circulate and the warmth, and make sure it dries out. So this is where I've put my pizza oven. It's a little bit of a corner of the garden, next to a greenhouse. I just thought I'd make it into a useful space rather than just an empty area. And what I've done is I've today lifted the vermiculite and cement moulded pizza oven, the dome, into position, and I'm just going to fill these spaces with some fresh cement and vermiculite mix. I'm going to put a little fire in here, just a small one, just to see if it works. One of the issues I've had is the fire bricks. You have to keep them as flat as possible and avoid little steps. Otherwise, when you come to using your pizza peel, you end up catching it on edges. There's one there, not perfect, but we'll see how it works. So just to give you some idea about the dimensions, the opening is about 38 centimetres, that's about 15 inches. Front to back, I would say it's about 30 inches or 78 centimetres, and the internal width is 65 centimetres, which is about 25.5 inches. And I used a gym ball to actually create this dome. I'll show you the mould that I used and how I went about constructing this. It's also important to note that I've put a chimney in the front, and I just set that into the cement as I went along. There's an important dimension between the height of the roof and the height that the chimney is set at. I've got a feeling, I haven't got the details to hand, but I think that's 64% of the internal height. The next stage of building the pizza oven is to fit the ceramic fibre blanket. This stuff comes on a roll, and you cut it to the length that you need, and gradually fit it over your pizza oven. It helps with insulation. So this goes on top of the pizza oven dome that I've just built and secured down onto the fire bricks. Then on top of that you put another layer of vermiculite concrete, all adding insulation. So let's have a look at that. Right, so I've finally got this blanket stuff on. I've put 2 layers on, so that brings it up to 50 millimeters. Not an easy job. I've covered it as best I can. It doesn't quite go down to the floor, but I don't particularly want it to, because I think it will soak up a lot of water otherwise. So I'm going to cover this with wire mesh now. So this is the pizza oven as I finished it last night. I've got a makeshift rain cover over it because I haven't been able to put the render on that ceramic fibre blanket. I managed to get the chicken wire over it. I just used some nails into the fibre board, and then I just pulled the chicken wire over the top and gradually tightened it up in places. Seems to be okay. So the next job is to render that, but I'll have to wait until the weather picks up. Now, I've also made a bit of an effort at doing a little brick arch in the front. A couple of little issues here. the arch itself is quite a tight curve, and I ended up having to knock the edges off these bricks in order to get the curve in. It's not absolutely brilliant, but hopefully it will be okay. A couple of issues here. The former for the arch, I propped it up at the front here, but at the back it's standing on the fire brick, and I'm going to really struggle now to get this former out. I'm going to have to sort of undo it and try and get it out without disturbing the arch. The other thing that in hindsight would have been a good idea would be to have put some wall ties in here to tie the arch in to the rest of the render and concrete then that I'm going to put on here, so that it would have held the arch in a way that would be stronger really. But so what's going to happen is the render coat will come right up and on top of the arch, maybe up to about here and over there, and then once I get this former out of the way, I'm going to have a go at just putting a small fire in there just to help dry it off and cure the different the brickwork on the base and also the vermiculite cement. So that's the next job. So it's a nice sunny day today, and I'm just going to show you what I've done since the last little bit of footage. I've put on a vermiculite render over the top of the ceramic fibre blanket and the chicken wire mesh. The chicken wire mesh gave this something to hold on to. So that's just curing out now. I've had it covered with a wet towels and so on, just to slow the curing. So that was done about 2 days ago, and it's gradually drying out. I've also built myself a brick arch, just cutting the bricks with a chisel, hammer and a chisel there, and just pieced it together. I've put in a little door here just to hold some of the heat in. I've put a little tiled front on here just so that it's level access into the oven. I've actually got the fire going now just to cure the inside out very slowly. The next stage is to put a final top coat on here that's more waterproof, and then I will eventually build a little structure over the top to keep the worst of the weather off. It's a nice sunny day, ideal for pizza making, but not quite yet until the inside gets cured out. Okay. Okay, so this is the first pizza. Put the render on, made the dough, got the pizza ready, got the pizza peel. Not exactly professional, but I've got the temperature going in there. It's about 432 centigrade. So this is the very first pizza. Let's see if it works. Oh my god, it's in there. A bit of cheese is rolled off.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Taking it out?
Oh, look at that!
Pleased with that?
Pleased with it, yeah. A nice margarita pizza.